Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and the night is finally upon us. Game 6 of the NBA Finals is tonight at 7:30 on ABC. Uh, it's finally the night the Thunder have a chance to clinch the NBA Finals with a win tonight on the road in Indiana. There's a bunch of different things going on with injuries and who's playing and who's not. We'll kind of get into the Tyrese injury a bit more, see how that might affect tonight's game. We'll look at the biggest X factor going into this game for the Thunder to finish this series out and clinch the NBA Finals. And then a bit on, we'll kind of look ahead to the offseason and look at where the Thunder are picking and when that draft is and what might the Thunder do with those picks. But first off, Game 6 is tonight on ABC, like I said. The Thunder are up 3-2, and just kind of a quick review of what happened last game. The Thunder was in control the whole game of Game 5. They won 120-109, and they put themselves with a chance to win the NBA Finals on the road in Indiana. And when you look at this game, and you've seen that most of the series, it's been a lot of whoever has home court just seems to play better throughout the entire game. It just feels more comfortable, which you're used to that with young teams. If you're playing at home, you're going to feel more comfortable than compared to on the road. But this series has showed us that to a bigger magnitude than ever before. It just feels like, granted, both teams split the first four, and both teams took a game on the road. But if you look back at Game 1, the Thunder had control the entire time, and then Tyrese hits that game winner. You look at Game 4, and it looked all but like Indiana was going to go up 3-1 and very well chance of on their way to a title. And then in those last 5-6 minutes of the game, they just completely collapse, can't get a shot to fall, and Shea has one of the better sequences in NBA Finals where he goes off and scores like 15 in the last 5 minutes, and the Thunder take that game, and then they both took one as well. So it's like you're looking at this from the perspective of, if you're Indiana, you're happy you're at home, you're happy you have a Game 6 at home. Even when you're down, you have that confidence of you're at home. And from the Thunder side of things, it's like, let's end this thing where we don't give a momentum going into Game 7, where granted you're at home and you know the Paycom would be absolutely unreal in a Game 7 of the NBA Finals, but you don't want to give them that chance of giving Tyrese another 2 days rest on Friday, Saturday, and him possibly being even better for Sunday, which causes more problems on how you might approach Game 7 and makes Indiana more of a threat. But for me, let's kind of go over the Tyrese Halliburton injury. And most of you know he's been dealing with that calf strain he got early on in Game 5 of the Finals, and it affected his play. I mean, he had 4 points in Game 5. He did not make a single field goal, and a lot of people have talked about how that's one of the worst Finals performances from the best player on a Finals team, and possibly quite all time. I know there's a couple of other games that people go to, like the Ray Allen 1 for 13 game or Reggie Miller game where he was 1 for 16. But you look at Ray Allen, he wasn't the top guy. Reggie was the top guy. But I mean, just from a perspective of just how big the game was and how much your team needed you, and Tyrese didn't show up. But the calf strain is something that Rick Carlisle and the coaching staff has come out and said that they're planning around not having Tyrese and kind of looking how they're going to approach things, assuming they don't have Tyrese, because from a calf strain standpoint, you want to push it if you're Tyrese and you want to be out there, obviously, and I know Indiana fans and their coaches would love for him to be out there, but with a calf thing in basketball, you just take one wrong move and that can turn into something worse, like an ACL or an Achilles, and you're looking at not just being done for a little bit or being in pain for right now, but you're looking at all of next year being out and then ruining your chances to go back to the finals. So they're hopefully Tyrese and the training staff, they know how to be careful about this. They know that the Thunder are going to have Ludor, Caruso, Wallace, Jada, people like that will get up in him and make him earn every possession. So they're gonna know that the Thunder are going to be very physical if he does play, and it's a question of if he does play, how effective is he actually going to be? Is he going to be another negative in the plus minus where it's almost better to have him just not play at all because he's actually being a negative towards your team? Or do you look at the fact of anything we can get out of him is something that we need in a winner take all game? And I mean, it wouldn't even, this is just kind of throwing ideas out there, but it wouldn't shock me if maybe they want to start a TJ McConnell just because he's done so well and have the possibility of you're not confident of him starting, but maybe you want him to start the game on the bench and him come off, and maybe if he is feeling it and maybe hits a couple shots off the bench, he could be that spark off the bench to get the crowd back into it. I doubt they do that. I feel like if he's good enough to go, they're going to start him being the best player. But, I mean, it was just an idea of maybe you start McConnell because you know how good he's been doing, and maybe with Tyrese not playing as much as you want, you still get him off the bench. He comes in against that bench unit and maybe sparks a bit more offense with guys like Toppin, Mathurin, and guys like that. Moving on to kind of the biggest X factor for the Thunder for Game 6, because the Thunder are 1 win away, so this is one of those games where you know you're probably going to get your 30-point performances from Shea and Jada, or at least Jada. It feels like now you're going to get that 30. You know you're going to get 30 from Shea. So it's kind of who's going to be that third, fourth guy to kind of step up and give you 18 to 22 points on the night. And your first thought goes to Chet because he's the third option on this team. But I mean, we saw in Game 5 he shot 4 for 15 from the field. He was amazing on defense, don't get me wrong, and that's where his strongest suit is his defense. But if Chet can give us 15 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks, I think that'll be more than enough for what the Thunder need tonight. I want to see Chet make more high IQ decisions. It feels like a lot of the times he's missing shots, it's him forcing stuff or him in high traffic area that isn't a good look. And I mean, you can look at the fact of maybe doing the lob threats or spacing the floor and getting out for the 3, and maybe your 3's on tonight, and we'll see how that is. Another guy to look out for is Alex Caruso. I mean, you guys have seen this since the playoffs have started. Caruso's been probably the third or fourth best player. Most nights some nights might even be the second best player. I know the Game 7 against the Nuggets, he was probably the most important player over Shea just because he was limiting Jokic so well. And you look at Caruso, he's probably, if he's on, I mean, you look at last game and you didn't really have to, a lot of people didn't notice because Jada was doing so good. You had Aaron Wiggins and Wallace combined for 25 off the bench. But Caruso did not shoot the ball well. I believe he was like 1 for 8 from the field. And luckily it didn't matter in that game because you were getting contributions from everybody else. But I believe Caruso will have another double-digit night. I feel like he's the guy off the bench that, since he's done this in the finals before, that he's going to have the confidence to go out there and kind of be that spark plug off the bench, not only on defense, but on the three-point line and possibly give you 2, 3, or 4 threes. Kind of same thing from Ludor. You're going to see a lot of the same thing from him and Caruso. Defense first, and then hopefully knock down a few threes. I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of Wiggins and Wallace. I feel like we're going to see a 9-man rotation. We're going to run our normal 5. We'll have Wallace, Caruso, Wiggins. And I think we see more of Kenrich Williams. I know I talked about a couple of videos ago how Kenrich he's not going to show it up on the box score, but it feels like every time he's just a good big body defender to guard somebody like Siakam or Toppin, and he gets those boards. It feels like every time he's out there, the Thunder are limiting those second chance points, and he's getting up there and grabbing those boards to push it out in transition. So I feel like we're in for a 9-man rotation tonight. I don't see us going beyond that. I don't think we see any J. Will, AJ Mitchell minutes tonight. I just feel like that's pushing it a bit far, knowing that you win tonight and you're done for the year. So I feel like, and I'm not even necessarily thinking we're going to see a lot of Kenrich Williams, but in spot minutes, I could definitely see him rolling out there. So my guess is a lot of 8-man rotation, but sprinkle in the 9th man and Kenrich to kind of get some extra rest, maybe on Hartenstein or Chet in the first half. Last point I want to kind of go over today is kind of looking ahead to the off season, because tonight has the chance to be the last night of actual NBA basketball for a while, which is crazy to think about. But the NBA draft is on Wednesday, June 25th, so just creeping up on us. And it's weird because usually the Thunder are in the finals, at least recently, so we're not used to it being like season done and now the draft. And obviously the Thunder and Sam Presti are known for their stockpile of draft picks. And in this draft, the Thunder have the 15th pick, so the first pick right outside of the lottery. And then I believe they have pick number 24. They had the swap best from them and the Clippers, so we got 24, and the Clippers will end up with 29 or 30, depending on how we end this. There's been a lot of speculation about, at least rumors, I'm not sure how true these rumors are, of the Thunder possibly wanting to trade up into the lottery and maybe trading those first-round picks and maybe a couple of others or even some seconds to move up in the draft. I'm not sure. I'll kind of look at that a bit more in depth once this series is over on who the Thunder might who they might be looking at, or who I might want them to kind of, if they move up, who it might be worth moving up for. But we'll kind of get more into that a bit late here in a couple of weeks once we get to that draft night and looking at all the draft analysis and draft boards. But let me know what you guys think down below. Tonight's the night, so hopefully all of you will be watching. I know I will, and then I'll be back here tomorrow to kind of give you a review, hopefully celebrating a Thunder championship, and it can be a fun video, or we could be stressed out and we be heading back to Oklahoma City for a Game 7. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.